Welcome to Moonshot Radio with your host, Dr. Nivea Torres.
Greetings and welcome to Moonshot Radio, where every moment is an opportunity to learn. I'm your host, Nivea Torres, Executive Director of the Kindergarten Readiness Collaborative, also known as KRC. Our vision is that all children in Indian River County will be ready for kindergarten. We proudly partner with the Moonshot Moment, who is transforming the next generation in Indian River County by having 90% of all students reading on grade level by the third grade. With me today here in the studio is Leslie Swan, Supervisor of Elections for Indian River County. Leslie, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Nivea.
It's so exciting to have you, Leslie, because we see ourselves as a clearinghouse of information, and we want to make sure that our community and the audience get this valuable information from you.
And it's a perfect time. We're coming up on elections on November 6th.
Definitely. Leslie, tell us a little bit about your background and your role now as Supervisor of Elections.
You know, it's kind of funny. I always tell my kids, you never know where you're going to land up, because I started working in Miami with Eastman Kodak Company selling huge high-speed copiers that cost about $100,000 a piece. And then kind of transitioned from there and went back and got another degree in interior design. And right when I was going to open my own business, which I did, I got a call from the then current Supervisor of Elections and said, I just had someone resign. Can you help me out? Because we had worked on the PTA together. So I said, sure, I'll give it a try, 20 hours a week. And now 14 years later, I'm the Supervisor of Elections for the county. So it's been a great experience.
And tell us what a typical or maybe not typical day looks like for you.
Well, it's kind of funny. Things change constantly. Right now, we are in election mode. So we have qualified all the candidates. We've proofed the ballots. We are waiting for the ballots to arrive back from the printer. We can print some of the ballots in-house, and actually the end of the week, our ballots are going to be going out to our military personnel, because those ballots have to go out 45 days before the election. And then once we get those out, hopefully our ballots from the printer will arrive within the next 2 weeks, and then you have to inventory them, you have to test them, then you have to divide them up to go into each of the individual polling places and the early voting sites. So there's a lot going on right now.
Definitely a busy time of the year for you, Leslie. Leslie, at the Kindergarten Readiness Collaborative, we spent a lot of time talking about literacy. And when I reviewed your website, I was really excited to see that you have a program called the Sunshine State Young Voters Program. What is that about?
Oh, that's been a great program. And actually, it has been going on for as long as I've been working at the Supervisor of Elections office. And actually, I used to be in charge of that program. And what we do is the state has a list of 15 books, and they're age appropriate. Some of them go K through 3 or K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 through 8. And it's different reading lists. And we partner with the local schools here, and any school is eligible to participate. And what we do is if the student has read at least 3 of the books on the list, they get to vote for their favorite book. And it used to be using the voting equipment. We don't bring the voting equipment anymore. What we do is now they vote online. So they are learning, the importance of reading. And they think it's really fun that they get to participate in this program. And we hope if we start them out young voting, they'll continue to be lifelong voters.
Absolutely. You're encouraging that democratic process.
And we probably had, if I can remember right, about 2,400 students that participated the last go around that we had it. And most of the schools participate. The students get a little certificate. Then we give them maybe a patriotic pencil or a coloring book. Something that they can remember their experience. And then the students that read all the books, we try to make a real big deal and let them be a poll worker and help us check in the other students. So it's a very great program. And I see sometimes young people come up to me out in the community and like, you're the voting lady, you came to my school. So it's a great program that we have, and a good partnership with all of the schools in Indian River County, both public and private.
That sounds certainly like a very encouraging program to start that civic duty and responsibility very early on. Are there any other partnerships or programs that you have with the school district to encourage that civic duty and responsibility?
Definitely. We have a program called Democracy Days that we bring into, it's usually into the high schools, and we show a little bit of video on the history of voting and the different constitutional amendments that pertain to, when women got the first right to vote, 18-year-olds. And then we do a little exercise in the class. And we have students get up. They usually vote. They pick candy out of a jar. And then I have to sell this candy to the students in the classroom. And then they vote for their favorite candy candidate. But then we have a little twist to it. So when they get the piece of paper to vote on, the opposite side has a shape on it. And so we first let people go up and with one shape, and we say, yeah, you're allowed to vote. The second one, maybe not. You are a black male. This is when blacks were not allowed to vote. Or you're a woman, you're not allowed to vote. Or you can't vote because you didn't turn out. So they kind of get the feeling that it is my responsibility. And there were certain times through history that certain people were not allowed to vote. And so we do, then they can register to vote right in the classroom. So that's fun. And then we have another program that's called Pop In to Register, where we bring a popcorn machine. It's usually into the cafeteria during lunch, and we get the students to sign up to vote. Now, I know you said you were from Connecticut, and I don't know if they have pre-registration, but here in Indian River County and the whole state of Florida, when you're 16 or 17 years old, you can pre-register to vote. Mm-hmm. So the minute you turn 18, you're registered to vote and ready to go for the election. So that's another one of the programs that we have in the schools. And we come out anytime we are asked. We go out to career days and set up voter registration drives. So we go to each high school and college campus at least once a year, but many times it's many more than that.
What a great partnership to have with the school district and the local universities, Leslie. And I think you touched upon a little bit on the rights and the responsibilities in little ones and how you foster that. So how do you extend that to the community, and how do you help the community understand, particularly this time of the year, their voter rights and responsibilities?
Okay, well, actually, within the Florida statutes, they have a list of voting rights and responsibilities, and we have those posted on a board at every single polling location so that voters know what their rights are, and also their part of the voting process, what their responsibilities are. We have those posted on our website. They're in our voter guide. And whenever we go out and speak, I do a lot of speaking engagements. And, people put everything on the elections officials. Well, a lot of it has to do with the voters. They need to do the research on the candidates themselves. We have to be totally nonpartisan. We don't give out information on candidates at our office. The only thing we do allow is candidates can put a short bio on our website. It's totally optional, and it has to be about themselves. They can't go criticizing other candidates. We read them over first, and it's just what they feel about themselves or their qualifications. And so it is the responsibility of the voter. The voter has to bring their ID to the polling place. That's one of their responsibilities. It's not that they can't vote if they don't have identification. It just makes it quicker. Otherwise, they can vote in Florida what's called a provisional ballot, and it's the same ballot that everybody else votes, but except they don't deposit it into the voting machine. What they do is it is inserted into a secrecy sleeve, and then it goes into an envelope. And on the envelope is information that the voter has to fill out, the reason why they're voting, the provisional ballot envelope. And then it comes back to our office. Most of the time it's because they don't have their ID. So they've signed their signature on the envelope. When it comes back to our office, we have a canvassing board, which is a county court judge, one of the county commissioners, and myself. And if we can identify that they are actually a registered voter, and their signature matches the signature on this provisional envelope, then we accept their ballot. So we do everything possible in Florida so that people's vote counts.
But like you say, we also have responsibilities as a voter. And I was sharing with you earlier that I did a lot of research in terms of the candidates and the issues because I just moved here. And that's our responsibility as a citizen to really be informed. So there's a balance between the rights and the responsibilities.
Right. And, people ask me a lot of times, what are you going to do to get more people to turn out to vote? Well, it's really the candidates and the issues that really attract people to turn out to vote. If something's really pulling at you, you're more apt to turn out to vote. I can go to every single voter drive, be there every single weekend. I can get them registered, but you can't force people to turn out to vote. So you can just encourage them. We do a lot of advertising on the radio, in the newspaper. Social media is very popular now. And we just get the word out about where they can go to vote, what the hours are, and do our best. But it's really the candidates and issues that drive people to the polls.
Leslie, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
At the Kindergarten Readiness Collaborative, our vision is for every parent, regardless of income or zip code, to have the knowledge and tools they need to raise healthy children that are prepared for kindergarten. Our mission is to support our partners in developing a high-quality early childhood system that is family-centered. Our outreach and parent engagement specialists connect with families and build trusted relationships. KRC has chosen Fellsmere and Gifford as our two focus areas in Indian River County. Our Fellsmere office is located downtown in the City Annex, and our new Gifford office is located within Victory Park Apartments. Our administrative offices are now located adjacent to Healthy Start and Treasure Coast Community Health in Vero Beach. The Kindergarten Readiness Collaborative, developing a high-quality early childhood system for all children in Indian River County.
For more than 160 years, PNC has been committed to providing their clients with great service and powerful financial expertise to help them meet their financial goals. The PNC Foundation, which receives its principal funding from the PNC Financial Services Group, actively supports organizations that provide services for the benefit of communities in which it has significant presence. The foundation focuses its philanthropic mission on early childhood education and community and economic development, which includes arts and culture. Through Grow Up Great, its signature cause that began in 2004, PNC has created a bilingual $350 million multi-year initiative to help prepare children from birth to age 5 for success in school and life. For more information, go to pncgrowupgreat.com. Honey, I want a boat.
We can't afford a boat, and there's so much work.
Yes, we can with Carefree Boat Club. No insurance costs, storage, no maintenance, no cleaning, no trailering, no launching. You get free training and online reservation across the country, but for now, we'll just use the location at Harbortown Marina, and they all are top-of-the-line boats. It's boating made easy, honey.
You had me at no cleaning.
Carefree Boats /Treasure Coast, 772-774-7400.
If you're thinking of buying a boat, you aren't doing the math. Carefree Boat Club.
Welcome to Vero Beach Cleaning, a complete home and office cleaning service that fits your needs and attends to your specific special instructions. Call now to schedule your free in-home estimate at 772-564-7839 or contact us through verobeachcleaning.com. 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 verobeachcleaning.com.
Very funny, Stu. No kidding. I'm Donna Roberts Mitchell, and Vero Beach Cleaning does my home every other week, and I love them. Vero Beach Cleaning.
We're back to Moonshot Radio, where every moment is an opportunity to learn. I'm your host, Nivea Torres, Executive Director of the Kindergarten Readiness Collaborative. And joining me today in the studio is Leslie Swan, Supervisor of Elections for Indian River County. Leslie, thank you for joining us today.
It's good to be back.
Leslie, right before the break, we were talking about voter rights and responsibilities. Let's talk a little bit about the 18-year-olds and those who are getting registered to vote during their first election. What does your office do to encourage them to vote?
We go out into the schools, like I was commenting before, and we pre-register the students. Now, in the state of Florida, in order to vote in an election, you have to be registered 29 days in advance. So we like to pre-register these students. So if their birthday, say, like is the day before the election, then if they pre-register, they're eligible to vote in that election. If they don't and they wait, then it's too late. They wouldn't be eligible. So we like to go in the classroom and do that. And we send out about a week before their 18th birthday, their new voter information card. So they're all set to go for the elections. And we like to go into the schools and show them how the voting equipment operates, because I don't think about it, but a lot of other people are intimidated. You know, I don't want to go vote. I'm not sure really how to vote. And so we like to show them. We've just switched voting equipment last year, and we used it for the first election, for the city elections in 2017, and then we rolled it out countywide for the primary election that we just had in August. And it's so much easier than the previous equipment we had, because the previous equipment, when you marked your ballot, it still was a paper ballot, but you connected the two ends of the arrow, and people couldn't figure that out for the most part. They would draw circles around it or draw the tip of the arrow to the person's name. Now you fill in the bubble. You fill in the oval, and people are so used to doing that, taking standardized tests or filling out surveys. And we have found that they make many fewer ballot marking errors by filling in the oval, as opposed to the way we previously voted with the ballots.
And you mentioned paper, so we do use paper to vote, and there's a paper trail, correct?
Yes. When I first started working prior to 2004, they did use punch cards. And then they went to touchscreen. And then in 2008, the state of Florida legislature passed a law that said that we have to vote using a paper ballot. And we were way ahead of the game. I'm thinking, oh no, we're changing again. But it's been great, because so much has gone on in elections. And now people want that paper ballot to do any kind of recount if they need to do that. So by having the physical piece of paper, they can actually count it. When we had the touchscreen voting machines, it was all electronic, so you really didn't have anything tangible, and now we have the paper to go back. And we also, a lot of people don't know that after each election, we have to do a post-election manual audit where we draw a precinct out of a hat and a race that was on the ballot out of the hat. We find all the ballots that were cast in that precinct, in that race, that were voted either by mail or during the early voting period or on the precinct on election day. And we find the ballots, and we actually have teams of people count the ballots by hand and make sure the totals that were counted by hand match the totals that were tabulated using the voting equipment. So it's another check and balance.
Definitely. Now, Leslie, you referenced the primary that we just had. Is there any voter turnout information that you have from that primary? How do you gather that?
Yes, we know that the turnout was a little 29.4%, which unfortunately during primary elections, it was higher than I had anticipated, but it's still awful. You know, during a presidential election in Indian River County, we get about 78 to 80% turnout. But I just can't understand why people don't turn out to vote, especially for local elections, because it affects them directly here on their day-to-day lives. And I just don't know what we can do to get people to understand the sense of urgency. You know, why would you want other people making decisions for you? I would want my voice to be heard. And I do. I vote all the time. Absolutely. And I make sure my kids vote all the time. They're not even young kids anymore, but they realize the importance of it.
Absolutely. And if you're going to vote, you're planning to vote, take someone with you and make sure that they're also exercising their right to vote.
Absolutely. And we make it so easy here in the state of Florida. Anyone can call our office. They can go online and ask for a ballot to be mailed directly to their home. They don't even have to leave their home. If they have a second home somewhere else, we can mail it there. If they're in the military, we can mail it anywhere in the world. You just tell us the address and we mail the ballot to them. Then we have an early voting period. During the primary election, it was 8 days. It's going to be 13 days before the election. From October 22nd to November 3rd, you can vote from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at either the main library in Vero Beach, the supervisor of elections office, or the Sebastian City Hall Council Chambers. You can go to any of those 3 locations, no matter where you live, for those 13 days. If you can't make that, then you also have Election Day, which is from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You have to vote at your assigned polling location. I don't know how much easier we can make it than that.
So, Leslie, those are then the 3 ways that folks can vote. You can vote by mail, you can vote early registration, right? Early voting. Or you can vote on election day. And if you decide to vote on Election Day, what should you expect at the polls?
Here in Indian River County, we are very well staffed. Even during a presidential election, you probably won't wait more than 10 minutes. And the good part is you can go on our website, and we have a voter turnout module and an early vote time, a wait time module. So you can actually go and see what the wait times are at the 3 early voting sites. And so if you thought there was going to be a wait more than 10 minutes at one, you might go to the other. But I can tell you, you don't wait long at any of the sites here. We're very fortunate. We have a lot of equipment. We have a lot of election workers. We have great polling locations. So we are fully equipped and ready to go. And we're not a big city like Miami-Dade or Hillsborough County and Tampa. So it's a very contained county. So I can get from one end of the county to the other in about 25 minutes. And some of these other counties, it takes hours to get to one site to another. And we do, like I said, we have lots of people to check you in and lots of voting booths, so you don't have to wait here in Indian River County.
So this show is airing now mid-September. Leslie, is there a deadline to register to vote? Can people still register to vote for this election?
Yes, they can register up through October 9th. And we call that the book closing date. And that's the last day for people to be able to register to vote, to be eligible to vote in the November 6th election.
And they can do this online?
Yes. And that's new because that started last year on October 1st, 2017. They passed a law and it went into effect finally that you can register online. The only caveat to that is you have to either have a Florida driver's license or a Florida ID card. And the reason for that is when you go to get your driver's license, you have to sign your name. We need a signature clip in our office because we verify a lot of things. We verify if you sign a petition for a candidate or an issue. We check each of those petitions and we check the signature and we look at the signature on file in our office. And if you vote a provisional ballot, we have to have the signature there. If you vote by mail, we check every single mail ballot that's turned into our office to make sure it was you that actually voted that ballot. So we need that signature in order to be able to vote online. So you have to have a Florida driver's license or a Florida ID.
Leslie, any final words to encourage folks to go out to vote, or if they have additional information, they should visit the website?
Our website, I feel, is fantastic. It's voteindianriver.com, voteindianriver.com, and you can find out anything you want to. There's voter guides on there. You can check if you're registered to vote. You can check on upcoming election dates. I even have election results back through 1956, which was the furthest I could go back, and sample ballots back to the 80s. So we have a lot of interesting information on there.
So we're encouraging our audience to go out and vote and make sure that you take someone with you. And if you have not registered to vote, you still have time to register to vote for this coming election.
Yes, you do. And just don't bring one friend, bring a bunch of friends with you.
Bring everybody in your community, but make sure that you exercise your right to vote. And thank you for the work that you're doing in local schools to encourage the young ones to understand a little bit more about their civic duty, because that's important.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Nivea. It is important to get the word out and get those young people started on the right foot and voting consistently.
Thank you, Leslie.
My pleasure.
Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Until next time, this has been Moonshot Radio, where every moment is an opportunity to learn.
You've been listening to Moonshot Radio with your host, Dr. Nivea Torres.